So let's say you're out shopping for clothes. You walk down the aisle and the store employee approaches you. Is there anything I can help you find? What do 99% of people say in that situation? No, I'm good. I'm just looking. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that even if you are actually looking for something, your first natural reaction is to always say, no, I'm good. I'm just looking? Because this instinctual reaction is the reason why people lie to salespeople. And in this video, I'm going to go over why people lie to salespeople and what you can do to get your prospect to reveal the truth. Because here's what I like to call the iceberg theory. The iceberg theory means that the surface level reason of what people tell you or why people tell you that they're shopping or why they're interested in your product is never the actual reason. It's just the tip of the iceberg. And the actual reasons lie beneath the surface, just like an iceberg. And I'm going to go over exactly how you can get to the actual pain, to what the true impact of that pain is, and what the time duration and time impact of that pain also is on themselves, their business, and their lives. Because here's the first reason why people lie to salespeople. They feel like if I tell you the truth, you're going to use it against me. Now, think back to when you were a kid, or think of a child. When a child does something wrong and you confront them about it, most of the time their initial reaction is to lie. And why is that? The reason for that is because children fear that confrontation. They fear the awkwardness, they fear the tension of doing something wrong or admitting that they did something wrong. So instead, they try to avoid it, even though eventually the truth comes out. They try to avoid it by telling little white lies or working around it. And this is why we're programmed. Because we feel like if we tell you the truth, you're going to strong arm me, you're going to apply tension to me, and you're going to make me do something that I don't necessarily want to do, or I'm not sure that I necessarily want to do. And this leads into reason number 2, which is you're going to use your high pressure sales tactics on me if I tell you why I'm really here. If you think about the way that people look at salespeople, most people in our society think of them as like used car salesmen. What has you out shopping for a car today? If you tell them the truth, they're going to have a reason to keep you on the lot forever or until you buy. So instead, if I'm just vague, if I just give general responses, I can walk away from the deal at any time because they don't have a reason to keep me there. They can't prove a point. They can't say, well, you told me this, so you have to stay, right? And that's the way that we're conditioned. Obviously, when you're on a sales call and it's an actual phone call or over Zoom, it's a different dynamic because a lot of people just sometimes hang up, sometimes leave the call. But people are programmed to avoid that confrontation. So how do you actually get people to tell you the truth? Step number 1 is to be curious. When you're curious, you come off as genuine. Let's say, for example, you're out to lunch with a friend and they told you that they just broke up with their significant other. And a lot of times you care about them. You're naturally curious about what happened. And you're just asking follow-up questions. Okay, well, why did you guys break up? Oh, okay. Had that been going on for a while? Okay. How are you feeling about it? Do you feel, is it hurting you? Are you okay? And when you show that natural curiosity, it comes off as genuine and it builds trust and rapport. They're thinking, wow, this person really cares. They're listening to the exact words that I'm saying. They're mirroring similar type words, similar type language. I can tell they're genuinely interested in helping me. And that starts bringing that guard down. It starts shutting off that programming. And it starts revealing the truth. And this leads into point number 2. When you listen, it builds rapport and trust. If you ever notice that in social dynamics, the people that are considered the most charismatic are often the people that talk the least. But what is it that they do when they're actually speaking? They're asking a lot of questions. If you've ever talked to a CEO or a high-level executive, they do a fantastic job in making you feel heard. They make you feel special. When you're talking to them, you feel like you're the only person in the world that they care about. And this is why listening builds rapport and trust. When you're listening, it comes off like you don't have an agenda. It comes off as if you're just genuinely interested in helping out that other person. So this is why we need to listen and ask the right follow-up questions to what people are telling you. And that leads us into point number 3. When you ask follow-up questions, people's guards begin to go down. If you tell me, well, the reason I want to get into content creation is because I know that it works and I know that I should be doing it, but I haven't been doing it. Okay, that's the surface level reason. Well, James, let me ask you, did something happen recently that made you realize that you needed to start doing this? Well, actually, yeah. I realize that the cold calling that we're doing is not really getting us the number of leads that we need in order to scale the business. Ah, I hear you. Okay. Did anything change with the cold calling? Like why exactly isn't that working anymore? Just curious. We just can't really find the number of leads. And we're finding that when we do get people on the phone, they're cold, they don't really know us. And I know content is really what we need in order to build that trust. Do you see, as the initial reason for being interested is completely different than what it ultimately comes down to? When you ask these follow-up questions, you're not only building trust, you're not only building rapport, but you're also uncovering pain. And pain is the biggest motivator. People will do anything to move away from pain. And that's what you can leverage later in your conversation and when you make your offer to ultimately close more deals.